You're in front of the Israeli School, Universal Practical Knowledge, the Philadelphia Division, here at 3226 Cheltenham Avenue in Philadelphia. We're standing in front of the school right now, getting a description of the 12 tribe sign that's been painted by one of the brothers that was in the school: Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. Those are the 12 tribes of Israel.
Shalom. Shalom. You've been waiting for this day, so this day has finally come. A lot of you have been wondering where this knowledge that you've been hearing is coming from, and the powerful truth that you've been hearing, how this was established. Well, we finally were able to arrange for the priests to come down from New York and spend some time with us. And I'd like to introduce them if I can. These are some great brothers. We're very glad to have them with us. We want to make them feel as warm as possible, because this is their work and the extension of their work and what they've laid down some time ago. I'd like to introduce, first of all, priest and six-shield general, fourth in command in the nation of Israel, Lahab. I'd like to salute this brother. Macho. Barak. Yeshabim, which means sit. And I'm going to turn it over now to priest General Lahab.
Come on, brother. I'd like to say this, starting off, we're very impressed at your school here, and we're very impressed to see that the brothers and sisters in Philadelphia think enough of the Most High and the Bible and the truth and your nationality to be a part of this, because most of the brothers and sisters are running from the truth.
You mean everything to me because I know you mean everything to Christ, and Christ means everything to me.
I called on the Lord. I said, "Yeah, Father, this is real. Will you watch over me? Will you raise them up to be strong? I'm just a man with flesh. This is what you called for in your scriptures. You said they wore studs and fringes, they got it on. You said they will follow the law, they doing it. You said under your house shine they ought to love one another, and they doing it.
Shalom, Israel. It's time to come get your full dose of truth for the week.
You got Mondays, history class, taught by Officer 500 Shariwan and Officer 500 Ahabawan. 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday, you got Word to the Unwise podcast from 6 to 7 p.m. Followed by the main event, Captain and Priest Hadaria Allah, teaching scripture breakdown, the Bible like you never heard it before. 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Wednesday, we got Priest and Officer 1000 Awaja teaching you all about the law. Tune in. 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thursday, you got myself, Priest and Officer 5000 Kazak Amath, joined by Priest and Officer 500 Barak Yah, teaching you the Brotherhood class from 5 to 7 p.m. Friday, learn to speak in the Holy Tongue, the Lashawan Kodash class, taught by Officer of 1000, Qatar. 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West, so who is y'all, nigga? One West, we want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West, so who is y'all, niggas? One West, we want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, niggas?
UPK soldiers got them killers with me, and I don't fuck with every spot cause it's too iffy. Real motherfucking prophet cause the Lord with me, but don't get that shit twisted, I got Drakes with me. Yeah, bitch, and that whole 50. Run up on me wrong, you gon' catch 60. Wait, you gon' catch 20. The other 30 for your homies, bitch, I got plenty. And I'll shoot this motherfucker till that clip empty. Taking orders from your bitch, you a fucking simpy. Shit, should be televised. The way I'm cutting niggas up, bitch, I'm a samurai. Niggas swear they in the truth, but telling hella lies. Stumping like you Greek, bitch, you Hellenized. The revolution gon' be televised, and what I see in my vision gon' leave you petrified.
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West, so who is y'all, nigga? One West, we want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West, so who is y'all, niggas? One West, we want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, niggas?
UPK soldiers lead cowards and all. So fuck a gas stop, I came with 6 pumps in my car. My niggas ready to swing, we like kids at the park. So touch a chair around this bitch and we breaking your jaw. They think we Christian, but we not. Nothing about us is soft. I don't know what you niggas on, but that shit get you off. We booted up, we came to take zones for real. Black 40 under my garment, I be dressed to kill. Fourth dimension sitting linger, I be fresh for real. Putting scripts on your corners, but these here ain't pills. We rock covers, you official if you know those drills. Bread and water, you official if you know those meals. Yeah, you niggas soldiers get rolled over. You got police in your pocket, I got a judge in my holster. Oppressors out to get us, so remain sober. Or be chained to them chains till there's nothing that remains of us. A cult leader like Christ, we got the same culture. I bang on them, tell my enemies the reign's over. I up the sig and keep pulling like a chain smoker. The game ain't changed, One West stayed the same on them.
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West, so who is y'all, nigga? One West, we want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West, so who is y'all, niggas? One West, we want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, niggas?
Niggas talking prophets, yeah, we got plenty. We the reason why it's Israelites around the city. Call Kazak, tells a rock, bring Shamar out. We about to slide on him, see what niggas talking about. Young dog think he wise cause he a Kim head. That shit lame, they didn't survive, nigga, Kim is dead. Where I'm from, little nigga, is a dirty game. I pledge allegiance to Yahweh, bitch, I'm UPK. Nigga, let's talk bodies. Set up on your corner, wake up everybody. Big priest, until I'm dead deceased. The mission is complete until you're off the street. Saw y'all on the internet, stumping down the street. But take the poor and the weak. Touch a sister or a brother, you gon' be sleep. But take the poor and the weak.
One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West, so who is y'all, nigga? One West, we want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West, that's who we are, nigga. One West, so who is y'all, niggas? One West, we want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, niggas?
Fucking with the brothers, then I'm giving out major pain. Clip full of ball heads, I'm shooting out Damon Wayne's. Driven ambition, I ain't never changing lanes. Wise as an old man, but I ain't slanging cane. This ain't a game, this shit way deeper than rap. You speaking the cap, but the shit y'all speaking is cap. I'm 5,000, but I still keep it a stack. I'm in the truth, not cause back then I was seeking the fact. Crying loud for the niggas that's deep in the back. And the Lord with me, ain't no reason for keeping the strap. We peep the attacks, niggas say we ain't speaking the facts. Stealing breakdowns every time we teaching in class. Niggas snitching, y'all out here squeaking with rats. We be on the street corners teaching that Jesus is black.
We on 125th Street, Harlem, nigga, you see where we at?
One West, West, one West. That's who we are, nigga. One West, one West. So who is y'all, nigga? One West, one West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga. So who is y'all, nigga? One West, one West. That's who we are, nigga. One West, one West. So who is y'all, niggas? One West, one West. We want it all, nigga. That's who we are, nigga.
Ironic.
You know the truth is the truth, that's all I know. Cry loud and spare not, you gon' get exposed. A few real niggas left, you not one of those. Real soldiers, we was born to stand 10 toes. If he ain't one West, that nigga not one of mine. He got a purple 12, me, I got a black 9. The truth is the wife of my youth, chopper my concubine. Had to die to get my rib, that bitch forever mine. You know the game, a bishop gotta be blameless. But GMS teaching niggas to be rapists. They screaming we snitch. When Joe Morgan was killed by your brother, y'all ain't say shit. Real prophets only dwell in the UPK, PSA, we don't sign NDAs. Real prophets only dwell in the UPK, PSA, we don't sign NDAs.
Hey, 100 deep, 100 shields on, that's 100 priests. 100 boots, that's 200 feet. Tongue like a sword when I fucking speak. Teach you how to fish instead of fucking leech. Stop selling drugs instead of trying to fuck with me. Knowledgeable, but I'm rude in my fucking speech. Life is about warfare, not no fucking peace. Hey bitch, I cry loud when I fucking speak. Make them wait a year before they fuck with me. Turn a street nigga to a fucking priest. Cross a priest and I promise you forever sleep.
Hey, shalom. What's going on? Ahabawan, Yabashim Shabbat.
Test. Oh, yes, sir. Yabashim Yashab Barakatah. What's going on with you, sir?
Hey, not much. Shoot. It's another day in hell. Yeah, I mean, another day around all these devils who want nothing but to destroy us. You know what I mean? And I'm just thanking the Most High that I got the brothers in the UPK. You know what I mean? To be a little heaven here on earth.
Yes, sir. If I may, sir.
Come.
Shalom, Israel. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yashab Barakatah to the brothers. Yahweh Shemar Latah. Shem Yahweh Shah to the sisters. We are the ISUPK. Started on 1 West 125th Street, right, under Commanding General Yohana, right? What we say is, and what we know is, and what we teach is, that one, if you are not in the ISUPK, you are not in the truth. You're not in the truth. Two is, we are here to teach only our people, our blacks, Native American, Hispanics, them folks on that 12 tribes signage. Right, that's the only people we care about. That's the only people that we're here to teach. That's the only people that can get saved. That's the only people that need saving. Everybody else, spit them. That's what the Bible say, right? So it's a lock, yes, sir. But it's we've had some trying times over here in America.
Wow.
You understand it's the history class, but some things happen. Oh my, they had, some white on white crime has went down.
Oh man.
Ooh wee. Did y'all hear about it over there in the northern, what Donald Trump called us the 51st state?
Yeah, man. Canada's a place where racists leave America to flourish.
They say we're racists leave America to be racist.
Yeah, KKK left America, came to Canada. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a beautiful place for Europeans. Yeah, I mean, and Charlie Kirk, man, the minute it happened, that shit flooded my Facebook, flooded all the news articles in Canada. I'm sure the whole earth has heard about that man.
You know what, sir? I've done you an injustice. You know what I didn't do?
Okay.
I went and got the glasses. I didn't get you none.
No sweat.
But you know what? When I get a couple dollars, I'm gonna get you a pair.
No sweat, priest. Shit.
But yeah, so that Charlie Kirk thing went down over here. Like, I posted a picture of Samuel Jackson and Leonardo DiCaprio because that's how brothers was acting over here in America. Man, so that was.
I didn't realize.
You didn't see the movie.
I didn't realize how racist that man was until he got unalived.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
So
all of a sudden I started seeing all the shit he's been saying about our people. I was like, God damn.
Yes. Yeah. So man, I believe it was an Issacharite brother asked him a question. It said, he said, I'm gonna ask you a question, and I want you to know, which one was guilty and which one was innocent. He said Carmelo Anthony.
God.
Right. Then he said
O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then he said, what's the young boy in Florida?
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
Trayvon Martin.
Zimmerman, something like that.
Yeah. He said Trayvon Martin or George Zimmerman?
George Zimmerman, I think, is the one.
George Zimmerman. He said George Zimmerman was innocent.
Yeah.
O.J. was guilty, and Carmelo Anthony is guilty. Right now, I'm not sure what's going on with the Carmelo Anthony case right now, sir, where that is at. But O.J. was acquitted, right? So he called O.J. guilty when O.J. was acquitted, right? But then he said Zimmerman was innocent because Zimmerman was stalked and hunted by Trayvon Martin.
Mm-hmm.
If my memory serves me correctly, Trayvon Martin was on the phone with his girlfriend saying, "This dude is following me," and the 911 dispatcher told Zimmerman not to follow Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
So, it's funny how, how you say it's you got different views. Oh, what is it? My people perception, their perception is their reality.
Right.
Right. Their perception is their reality. Let's see who we got up there. We got some people checking in. We got Shemayim. We got Shah.
Yo.
Kwamada. We got Princess Nawah. Look, you know what? I'm gonna have to take them. I'm gonna have to tell the doctor like I'm gonna have to say yes to them reading glasses. Even though that's about 30 feet away from me, and it's written in.
Yeah, no, you too off, Chris.
Last year I was able to read that. Yep. Yeah, sir. So it's just some crazy things that's going on over here in America. I didn't think, when I was a Christian, I didn't think that white people were gangsters.
God.
But then that if you thought like that, then you don't think about the Dillingers, what was the Chicago mobsters, the old white, Bonnie and Clyde, Babyface, Ray, and all those guys that were Chicago mobsters and white mobsters. These guys were robbing banks, and the people, the American oppressor was supporting them.
Yeah.
They had the FBI looking for what was the guy's name in the movie Untouchables?
Untouchables.
Can't remember. Untouchables was about the startup of the FBI. Yeah, so they were chasing. It wasn't Dillinger. If somebody know what's that Chicago mobster name, please put it in the chat. And just real quick, if y'all can hear us, can we get a One West in the chat? I know it's a little behind. We just want to make sure our sound is good. Put a One West in the chat if you can hear us.
You know, it's interesting that
Do some sound
that Europeans would have us believe that they're the innocent, righteous people on earth. And it's part of the reason why, we're so adamant about teaching, the truth of the color of Christ. You know what I mean? Because they would have you believe that Europeans are all holy and perfect and righteous and the model citizen. You know what I mean? I think I Googled it a couple days ago. I just Googled the word pictures of thugs. And you get nothing but, black people pop up. You get nothing but Hispanic people pop up. Because this is the image that they push to have you believe that you're less than. You know what I mean? And you pull up a picture of say, just type in, say, a businessman. You're going to get a picture of 100 different European men in suits and ties.
Damn right.
You know what I mean? And they'll have you believe that these are the innocent ones.
Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, when Charlie Kirk was unalive, the first thing I thought in my head was, oh, I guarantee it's another white boy. You know what I mean?
Oh, I knew it was. I knew it was one of them Utah corn-fed individuals.
Right.
Right. And did you hear the so amazing, because the guy was like, I forget who he was. He's like, but I was hoping, he said that he thought it was, someone that was not from here. Right. He said he thought it was, he wanted it to be, somebody from overseas. Right. He wanted it to be somebody that's not, from around their parts. But if you look at that area, it ain't too many of us in Utah.
God.
It ain't too many of us. I think you got the Utah Jazz. You got a couple of brothers over there. Basketball team. You got a couple of brothers playing basketball in Utah. I don't know what's the football team name. Okay, yeah, we got the One West going, so that we've heard good. But it wasn't us.
Yeah.
It wasn't us. And you know what? It never appeared in my mind that it was going to be one of us. When, it went across my feed on my, when it went across my timeline, and, I had heard of him, and I'm like, I'm not listening to this dude nuts, right? So when I heard of him, I didn't pay attention to any of the things that he was saying, because I knew, but then I started to find out that my, people, family members, and, folk I grew up with, they were listening to him. So I'm like, why are you allowing this dude to use this rhetoric and this propaganda about you against you?
God.
And it was mostly black women in support of this dude.
Yeah.
And then I seen him hanging out with Candace Owens. Him and Candace Owens hung out together. I was like, I see why black women are supporting this guy, and I see why they believe what they believe. Right?
Yeah, and it's sad too, because people, if you don't know statistics and you're not reading on information for yourself, you'd actually believe the bullshit that came out of that man's mouth.
I was going to go there next.
Like he'd have you believe in a heartbeat that that black people are the criminals. He'll have you believe in a heartbeat that black people have all the same rights and opportunities that a white man does in America. You know what I mean? And he'll pull up some bullshit statistic, and what's sad is there's people out there, our people sometimes, that'll fall for this shit. You know what I mean? They'll sit here and think to themselves, well, this white man beside me doesn't really have more opportunity. What opportunities does he have that I don't have? I can apply to a job. I can submit a resume. Maybe this belief I have that, I'm being oppressed is bullshit. Maybe I really can, be something and live the American dream that was sold to me as a child. You know what I mean? He'll have you believe in this, and then next you know what I mean, you go back into this mindset of you're free. You know what I mean? You're free, and you're this place called America is your kingdom and your home, and you know you're a proud American citizen, and this is the place you want your family to be raised and protected, and this and that. And I'm gonna vote for the next president because this place is, you know, my freedom. It's my home country. Meanwhile, they're locking us up by the millions.
Damn
right. Meanwhile, they have abortion clinics on every corner of our block, you know, where we unalive millions of our babies every year, putting drugs in our communities, all sorts of things to destroy us. You know what I mean? And it is really another way just, you know, to oppress us. You know what I mean? One of the things we really have to wake up and understand is like truly how diabolical the European man is. You know what I mean? I can't stress that enough. Especially since I've been, you know, starting to teach these history classes more. You know, it's really waking me up even more to how abusive Europeans have been to Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous.
Damn right. Ooh-wee.
Like the abuse that they've done to our people is insane. And then for us as a people to turn around and, you know, forgive them and accept their love and accept their kindness and accept their way of life, it's so diabolical. You know what I mean? When they attack us on every single level known to man. They don't leave us alone to build our own communities. You know what I mean? They force and portray us a certain way in the media. You know what I mean? They'll allow us to, you know, succeed in certain areas that destroy our family. Like, you know, on this topic of Habawan, I thought this was interesting. Did you know that sheep intestines are banned from the United States under the, what's it called? I think it's called the FDA or the USDF, whatever it is. That's the
Federal Drug and Food Administration.
Yeah, like they say that, you know, sheep intestines are what's it called? It's so toxic to human consumption that they refuse to sell it in America. But you know what intestines they will let a black man in America buy? They'll let you buy chitlins.
Yeah.
They'll let you buy those pork intestines. No matter how disgusting they are, they'll allow you to buy those and kill yourself. You know what I mean? And that's again to how diabolical these people truly are. You know what I mean? Like, we dying by the hundreds of thousands every year of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and eating this pork is absolutely destroying us.
If I may, sir.
God.
I'm going to ask you just a quick question. Have you ever heard one of the oppressors say, I want some chitlins? Just have you ever heard him say anything like that?
I have never heard that in my life.
You know, I understand they eat pork chops and, you know, ham. You always see the honey baked spiral slice ham commercials during you know, like Christmas and Thanksgiving, during those time periods, right? But I've never heard of one of those oppressors' children saying that he want or she wants some chitlins. But then our people, they want them baked, fried, grilled, you know, all like this has your house smelling like doo-doo.
Yeah.
Right? If your kitchen smell like doo-doo, your bathroom must be sickening.
Yeah.
If your kitchen smell like doo-doo, your bathroom got to be sickening.
Yeah. Could you pull up that the one article I sent you? It's called the Doc's Kitchen.
You don't want the Smithsonian one?
No, jump to the Doc's Kitchen, because this is on point to what you're saying right now. Like, I've never ever heard an oppressor say they want some chitlins. You know what I mean? I was you could say I'm just lucky enough that, you know, when I heard my family talking about that shit, I was like, I ain't I ain't eating that shit. You know what I mean? There's something in me as a child knew not to touch this. You know what I mean? There's just something about it turned me off, and I thank the Most High I never touched it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of our people, you know, they're introduced to it at such a young age. You know what I mean? And you're just eating it because your parents give it to you. You know what I mean? They might have forced you to sit down at the table. Slovakia. They might have forced you to sit down at the table and finish your chitlins before you leave the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Depending on, you know, the type of parent you grew up under.
See,
you know what I mean?
Chitlins has always been like a luxury item in the black.
Yeah.
Man, even in my family, you know, chitlins been it was some gourmet, so everybody ain't get to get chitlins. And I'm happy I was one of them ones that, you know, one is that if it don't smell right, I can't eat it. You know, I'm that type of person. Like if it has a foul smell to it, right? I can't eat or drink that. No.
God.
Because think about after you done boiled these chitlins, right? You done boiled these chitlins and you done pull the chitlin out, and then you got a pot of hot shit.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a pot of hot boiled shit sitting on the stove.
God.
So if you can eat chitlins, why can't you drop a piece of chicken, you know, and it's gonna sound disgusting, into a pile of chicken shit and eat it? Why can't you drop, you know, your chicken wing into a pile of just about everybody got dogs, into a pile of dog shit, and then like I'm just gonna rinse this off and eat it.
God.
Even, you know, I could put it in the microwave because microwave kills the radioactive kills, the microwaves will kill the parasites.
God.
You know, nah, it still smell like ass, and I can't eat it. Can't take that chance. No.
Yeah.
A rapper said, "I don't want to eat it. I can't eat that, man. It smells horrible to me."
God.
Right? So you can eat a fart, and chitlins, chitlins smell worse than a fart. Can you eat a fart? So I got that article, sir.
Yeah, jump down to where it says my first exposure to chitlins.
I got it right here.
I'll pull it up on my screen here too.
So this article is the Doc's Kitchen, evidence-based eating for everyday people, right? It says, my first exposure to eating chitlins. My earliest recollection of eating chitlins probably occurred during Thanksgiving or Christmas when I was 4 or 5 years old. If I may, sir.
Go ahead.
Think about this. You know, I'm assuming that the writer is, you know, one of the 12 tribes, probably a Judite. Of
course.
Probably a Judite. And, you know, this is just from reading the article, I'm assuming.
Yep.
I didn't read or find out or research the author. But look what he said. He said his first experience was probably during Thanksgiving or Christmas. Two more what? What's Thanksgiving? And pagan holiday. Thanksgiving is the worship of the murder and unaliving and sexual assault of 77 million Native Americans, of our brothers and sisters.
That's right.
Our cousins, aunts and uncles, right? So now you're taking an abominable food and you're eating it on an abominable day, and then right before you put that in your mouth, you want to say, I want to give an honor to God, or thank God for providing me with these chitlins, right, that the Most High despises on Thanksgiving, right, which is a day that the Most High despises, right? Well, which is a practice that the Most High despises, right? So you get abomination on abomination.
Mm-hmm.
And them be the same people that say, well, the Lord spoke to me. If the Lord spoke to you, he told you not to eat the damn chitlins. He told you to celebrate. Go ahead, sir.
And we got to understand too, like these holidays, They were given to us by Europeans. You know what I mean? Like, you accept this culture of their ways. You're not understanding how much you're truly destroying yourself. Like what you said about these holidays being an abomination. Like, you got to understand how much Esau has to hate you in order to feed this garbage, knowing that this goes against the Most High. You know what I mean? Like, they're the ones who they'll teach you in their Sunday school, what the word heathen is. They'll break it down and say, a heathen is a non-Israelite, or a heathen somebody who's not acting according to how the Most High wants you to act, and then smile in your face and hand you chitlins. Smile in your face and hand you this pork to eat, knowing it's an abomination to God. Like, don't think the European man doesn't know this. You read in Revelations, it says, I know them that say they are Jews and are not, but they're the synagogue of Satan. You think that Jewish man is eating pork? They don't touch that shit. You know what I mean? And if you're simple enough to believe that, the Jewish man is different from a European inside of America, you just as simple. That's the same race of people. And they're over there in Israel right now. They don't die of the same diseases. We'll get into some of the different things that you get from eating pork. And you'll see those countries over in Israel and Palestine, some of those Muslim nations, they do not die of these things in their country.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're not dying of I forget what it's called, trigonosis or something like that. They're not dying of, I think it's called MDS. You know what I mean? They're not getting Alzheimer's and there's a certain type of cancer that you get from eating pork. They don't have those things over there. You know what I mean? And they'll tell you and they'll feed it to you in some like a commercial with a family of 10 niggas sitting around a turkey, sitting around a big ass ham, make the ham look all nice and shiny, and you know what I mean? They'll do everything to sell this thing to you like this is your culture and this is a beautiful thing. And they would never touch that shit with a 10-foot pole. They don't eat chitlins. You know what I mean? If a white man ever ate chitlins, he's probably from the South somewhere. And because some Judite, turned some garbage meat into some nice tasting meal. You know what I mean?
If I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
What our people need to understand is that anything that was given to you during slavery, you need to reevaluate.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to reevaluate. You probably need to cut it off and say, damn with it.
God.
Right? That's probably what you need to do.
Yep.
Right? Think about all the, we're early into this article, and this the writer says his earliest recollection of eating pork was Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
He was 4 and 5 years old. So this young person is at 4 or 5 years old is being poisoned out the gate.
Yeah.
You want me to continue, sir?
Yeah, keep going.
It says, I vividly remember my grandmother opening a chitlin-filled bucket. Once the pungent aroma wafted from the chitlins and hit my nose, chitlins. So I thought someone clogged the toilet without the courtesy of closing the door and switching on the bathroom fan. Yeah. The smell emanated from that bucket was beyond horrible. He said the smell that emanated from the bucket was beyond horrible. It was like the chitlin bucket was a gateway to the underworld.
This is at 4 or 5 years old.
4.
Like they reminiscing on the smell of pork shit. You know what I mean? Just coming out of a bucket. And imagine you sitting there as a kid looking at your grandparents like, you're about to feed this shit to me?
Who ass smell like ass? It says, I remember my mother asking me if I wanted to try some. Against my better judgment, I tried a forkful with a splatter of Louisiana hot sauce. The chitlins had the texture of an egg scrambled hard. Their taste was a combination of umami, funk, and salt. I can accurately put their taste into words. So he said it tastes like funk.
God.
Ultimately, I didn't think they tasted bad until my mother explained what chitlins are. Once she said pig intestines, this at 4 and 5 years old, you knew what intestines were, and you knew what intestines do, and you knew what the use of intestines were for. It says, I knew that I was never going to be a chitlin advocate.
Yeah, and you can drop that article there. I just wanted to kind of set the stage on something you were saying, because it's so true that we were introduced to this shit at a young age. You know what I mean? We're introduced to it, and because of things like General Muhammad says this all the time, like you only eat pork pepperoni pizza because it's advertised to you.
Damn right.
You only eat pork ribs because it's advertised to you. You know what I mean? You eat chitlins and different things like that. Somebody handed this to you. You know what I mean? Somebody taught this to you at a young age. The child doesn't know any better. And once you get introduced to something at such a young age, in your mind, you think this is just normal. In your mind, you think this is just a regular way of life, which is why what Christ said was so heavy, that unless a man be born again, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. And what we have to understand, Black man, Hispanic man, Indigenous man, if we're not willing to throw away everything that we learned here in America, we will never see the kingdom of heaven. You understand? We will never see what it is to be free. We'll never know what it's like to have a good life. You're going to sit there every year, somebody in your family is going to die of cancer.
Every year?
You're going to sit there and you're going to watch it, all the pain of the family. You're going to see a person go through chemo and all the destruction, you know what I mean, and all the pain and suffering that they're going through. And you're there because you ate pork your whole life. You did something that was harmful to your body your entire life. There's no way you can have the kingdom of heaven. And there's people on this earth today, they are living in heaven. There's a European man in the middle of the ocean somewhere on a $5 million yacht without a care in the world. You know what I mean? The only thing he's worried about is what Charlie Kirk is saying about the LGBTQ, you know what I mean, at some university. That's his biggest problem, the words that are coming out of a man's mouth.
If I make
trying to unalive, somebody on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and what's so heavy about what you're saying? It's an oppressor sitting on a $5 million yacht because you eat pork chops.
Yeah.
Because you eat chitlins. Because you eat hog head. What the hell is hog head cheese? Right? This is some junk my aunt used to eat. Now, my family on my mother's side is from Mississippi. So they have a long line of poor eating habits. Right? So on my mother's side, you hear about the different heart issues, the high blood pressure, and all that kind of stuff. And it stems from our bad eating habits for 10s and 20 years. I've had the men in my family have heart issues at 40 years old and 35 and 40 years old because of the bad eating decisions that they've had from childhood, right? And they never got away from the traditional eating, the traditional eating experience that was put upon us from great grandma and great grandfather, right? Because look, great grandma and great grandfather, had to eat that because that's what. Well, I say great great grandmama and great great grandfather had to eat that because that's what was put on a plate. You can only have the pig intestines. Your oppressor wouldn't even give you the entire pig. You got the intestines, right? You got the head. That's why you made hog head cheese. You had the intestines. They gave you chitlins. But Judah being Judah, right? You can sauce it up, season it up, and now all of a sudden it's a delectable. Right.
If I may, under something you said, it says pig farmers can make around $150,000 to $200,000 annually. You know what I mean? That's around how much money they're making every year off of feeding you garbage. Sloppy.
If I may, sir, we got some comments. I can't read them from here. I can go to the table if you want me to. Go ahead and read them.
Yeah, I got it. So we got some comments saying One West, the sounds to Wab. Ema Shara says, praise the Most High, Shalom family.
Shalom.
And then we got Kenna Ya says, my cousin's mom fed them chitlins religiously growing up. And every time I went over his house, the whole house smelled like cow manure, and he covered it in hot sauce. I never wanted it. Yeah.
Well, my question is this, sir. You said that you spoke about pig intestines not being not being legal in America, right? So you can't have, not pig intestines, sheep intestines.
Yeah, sheep intestines.
Sheep intestines not being legal in America, right?
Yep.
Think about it. If you like chitlins, why you want your house to smell like shit? Why not eat cow intestines? You can eat cow intestines. Matter of fact, you can eat chicken intestines, right? You can eat sheep intestines, chicken intestines. You can eat cow intestines. These are lawful foods. Why you don't eat fish intestines? I eat fish all the time. I throw the intestines away. Out.
Right.
The stomach, the gallbladder, the all that, the guts, right? The lungs. I take the lungs out. I don't eat them. The gills. I don't eat the gills on fish. You know what I eat? The muscle.
Right.
Right? I eat the muscle. Yep. I fillet it. I either sear it. But these are all lawful foods and with these lawful foods, you can eat the intestines of those animals, of lawful animals, right? You can eat the liver, the kidneys, all that of lawful animals. So why, black man, somebody give me that answer. Why don't you eat the intestines of, I understand why you don't eat the intestines of sheep, but why you don't eat the intestines of cows or chickens? Animals that are lawful. I'm figuring goat probably fall in the category of sheep. You understand?
That's heavy. I got a scripture in Deuteronomy 28.
Want me to pull it?
Let me get it real quick. It's Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Because you're asking a beautiful question, Ahabuan. You're asking an extremely intelligent question. You know what I mean? And the answer is because you are still a slave.
You're still a damn slave.
You are still mentally destroyed, even being removed 100 years from quote unquote hardcore bondage. You know what I mean? And Europeans understand that they don't have to have you shackled and in chains and in bondage in order to own you. They can oppress you different ways. They can oppress you with a smile on their face. That's why when you read Psalms 55 and 20, it says that his words were smoother than butter.
I was definitely going to go there.
But war is in the European man's heart. Like, he is so diabolical, to have you believe that you're truly free here in America. You know what I mean? He oppresses you in so many other ways. He is such a demon that he will have blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous believe that medicine, that going to the fucking hospital is going to harm you.
Yes.
He doesn't, you know what I mean? He can give you all the Medicaid and insurance and whatever in the world. Your stupid ass is going to decline it because you think that medicine is bad for you.
You know what's so heavy about what you're saying, sir?
Okay.
Is that Esau was blessed with the sword, right? The sword is a device used to unalive the 12 tribes.
Right.
Right? So Esau has weaponized the doctor.
Yeah.
Esau has weaponized the black woman.
Yeah.
Think about it. What's the most dangerous place for a person to be? And it's in the mother's womb.
That's heavy.
Black woman's womb. So Esau has weaponized the woman, weaponized the food you eat, weaponized. I can bring up, I got an article right here where Esau has weaponized the water you drink. Right? But what's so heavy about what you're saying is that Esau has weaponized everything that you can think of. And so that's why, you have to come into the ISUPK because you don't even see it. When I was in the Christianity, I didn't see the weapons and the devices that Esau was using to plot against me. I was the young people, these young people like, oh, you could get up and go get a degree and you could do all that shit and look at me now. You see what I'm saying? With the degrees, and it's like you black and you still can't find a job, right? Esau has weaponized the job industry, right? Esau has anything that Esau can be Esau has weaponized the housing market. What's so heavy is I sent you a video earlier today about Christopher Columbus, right? About Christopher Columbus. And Christopher Columbus in that video was saying, it's better for, us to become slaves than to fall in war.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So now, and that passage is being taught to our young children in school. So now Esau is weaponizing Esau is weaponizing the school system.
Yeah.
You already got the pipeline from kindergarten to prison, from preschool to prison. And so now they're weaponizing anything that you use, black man, Native American man, Hispanic man, right? I got an article here, sir, and then I'll let it go.
Go ahead.
And this is out of the Sentinel. It says the pork industry is targeting people of color while still polluting their water.
Mm-hmm.
So Esau knows that the Most High don't want you eating this pork, right? So now what he's doing, and this article talks about how they're taking the pig feces and they're pumping it into the rivers and lakes and stuff like that near black communities. Because we think about this, we use this water faithfully. If like we're over here in Detroit, so if Detroit city water and sewage pumped out everything except the pork enzyme when they filter the water, who is it going to affect?
Yeah.
I got that scripture. You want me to read it, sir?
Come on, go ahead.
This is Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore, shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee, until he have destroyed thee.
Like, we got to understand that because we disobeyed the Most High, we have punishments that we have to pay for. And you see historically the children of Israel again and again and again and again going into slavery under another nation of people. And in Deuteronomy 28, you know, we're seeing this play out again amongst blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous, who are the children, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And for doing things like eating pork and celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving, we lost our protection. The Most High is a father. And any good father, you know, you tell your child, you know, don't smoke weed, you know, don't do those drugs, don't hang around those people. You keep disobeying your father, eventually he's going to say, you know what, fuck it. You want to go and hang out with so-and-so, do it. Let's see what happens. And we did that, and now look at it. We're sold to a nation that hates us. We're sold to a nation that put yokes of iron around our necks until they had destroyed us. Meaning, once we were destroyed, the European man didn't have to have us locked up and shackled in chains. Because we're mentally destroyed. We accept his Christmas. We accept his whoredom. We accept his fornication. We accept his drugs. We accept his pork. We accept his way of life. And he knows that we don't have the Most High's protection when we don't obey our God. We don't have our Father's protection when we disobey him. He doesn't have to force you to eat pork chitlins anymore, because now your dumbass goes and buys it by yourself. Now you go out and buy this and give this to your 4-year-old babies, feeding them poison because you're so destroyed. You know what I mean? Let's grab that the first one I sent you, that the Smithsonian article. You know what I mean? And you know, we're gonna get into some history. You know what I mean? We're gonna get into some of the history as to why we eat this shit, why we eat this garbage. You know what I mean? I took a cup the other day, Abalon. I took a cup of water, I filled it half up. And then I took some soap, you know, from under the counter, and I poured the soap in a cup in front of my kids. And I asked them, I said, which one of you are gonna drink this? You know, I asked which one of you kids want to drink this cup? And they all looked at me and laughed, and they're like, "The fuck's wrong with you?" Yeah, like, I ain't drinking that shit. You know what I mean? Of course, not that I would let them. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I'm doing it to show a point, because my boys were asking me. They're listening to the song "Cult Leader" from Katazan. You know what I mean? And they're asking me what a cult leader is. And I was explaining to them, I said, well, how many people in your class celebrate birthdays? They said, everybody. I said, how many people in your class eat pork? They said, everybody. Except for one of my sons. He said, well, there's a Muslim kid in my class. He doesn't eat pork either. And I'm like, okay, so you're the only one in your class that doesn't do these things. I said, what you want to do is teach them how much this is going to destroy their life. What you want to do, you want to be different. You want to be set apart. You don't want to be like everybody else. You want to be a leader. You know, you understand? And being a leader in teaching people not to eat pork, you're gonna look like you're in a cult because the whole world does it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And so, I'm showing them this cup of water, and they're like, "Yeah, hell no, we're not gonna drink that." And I said, "Why?" They said, "Because that's soap. That's not something you can eat." And I said, "That's the same thing with pork. Pork isn't food.
It's not.
Pigs are out here to clean the earth.
Mm-hmm.
They'll eat dog shit, giraffe shit, lion shit. They'll eat any fucking thing. You know what I mean? They'll shit and eat their own shit.
Yeah.
They'll eat their babies that are rolling around and shit. A pig will eat anything. You understand? They're meant to clean the earth.
And what's so heavy about what you saying, sir? They'll eat and shit and eat the shit.
Yeah.
And not die.
Yeah.
If you eat pig, you might as well eat your own shit. Because pigs can eat their own shit and not die. And not die.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the paragraph, sir.
Oh yeah, it's like the eighth last paragraph.
The eighth to last?
Yeah, so if you to the last. So if you go all the way down to the bottom.
Okay, and go 8 up.
Yeah, and then go 8 up, you'll get to where I want to start. You know what I mean? Because again, what you said is so heavy. It's like the only reason, we do certain things is because it's advertised to us. It's taught to us. You know what I mean? At a young age, but we don't know any better. You know what I mean? We really have to teach our kids. We really have to teach our loved ones, how much pork is destroying our lives.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that our Father doesn't want us to eat it. There's a reason the Most High said that pork is an abomination. Eating swine's flesh is an abomination. Because this thing is abominable. It's a wicked, disgusting thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you go in and you start looking up the statistics of, wait a minute, the number one cause of death in America is heart disease. The second, cause of death is cancer. The leading mortality rates every year.
But what caused more cancer than any other thing in the black community? It's pork.
That's pork.
Yeah. And sir, there's another heavy thing about what you just said. You said that we accept it so easily because we were taught to do it at a young age.
Sure.
What are some of the other things that we accept because we're taught to do it at a young age? Is hypersexuality.
Yeah.
Because you were taught that at a young age. You understand what I'm saying? Drug use, because you seen mama and daddy using drugs. Majority of addicts seen mama and daddy using drugs, or some parental figure in the family using drugs, and that's why they use drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So these things that the young person's brain develops up to, I think it says to 21. Is it 21 or 18?
Salaki, which verse?
No, I was saying that a young person's brain is developing. I have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they say for a man it goes to like 25
or something like that. So his brain's still developing.
Yeah, something like that.
So imagine being imprinted, mentally imprinted something that affects you heavily, or a traumatic experience, and your brain is still developing, right? So you're still processing that information in a different way.
Yeah.
It'll be similar to you putting a picture on an 8-bit video game and doing this same picture on, what's the new games out? What's the PlayStation 5 or something like that? That picture looks underdeveloped and cartoonish on the what's that? The ColecoVisions and the Ataris and the Nintendos, right? And the Nintendos. But if you look at it on that PlayStation 5, right? You look at it on that PlayStation 5, that image, is almost similar to what they're creating with these AI images. Yep. So I got that article, sir.
Yeah, go. Let's get it.
It says this is the Smithsonian Magazine, and it says where the conventional soul food myth does ring true on low county plantations is that the enslaved people were generally allowed to prepare for themselves all the excess pork that couldn't be preserved.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the enslaved community was given all the pork parts that the master didn't want.
Yeah.
But that wasn't necessarily all that they were allowed to eat. Let's think about it. Right? You think about the feet of an animal that you eat. You hear pig feet.
Yeah.
What about cow feet? You can eat cow feet.
Yeah.
Right? Why you can't, you got some people that eat chicken feet.
Yeah, Jamaicans, Benjamin, they love
they eat chicken feet. What about goat feet? Sheep feet. I'm just saying that if you look at the unlawful animals and compare them to the lawful animals, we're eating parts of the animal on the unlawful animals that we don't eat on the lawful animals.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But guess what? Then you don't hear about somebody eating pigtails, right? But you eat an oxtail and a turkey tail. You take these oxtails. The price of oxtails has increased drastically because your oppressor found out that oxtail is meaty and it tastes good because they used to throw it away. They used to throw it away, the oxtail. Now, oxtail is damn near as expensive as filet mignon.
Yeah, that shit expensive.
I love some oxtails.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, somebody gonna have to cook me some. I'm gonna have to buy some oxtails when I get some money.
I'm gonna have to bring some over for you.
Oh, you know how to prepare them?
Yeah.
I can prepare them good enough so they can be eaten. But I, you got some people that I got a cousin that his best thing to do is drink. He can drink you under the table and cook some damn oxtails. So what I'll do is I'll go over there with a pint and a couple of beers, oxtails. Like, oh man, I can make them for you. No, drink this first. No, let me stop. But as I continue, sir, it says, despite the fact that in the low country, right? I don't know what this low country is.
I think they're saying the South.
Okay. Enslaved African Americans were not solely eating the leftovers, unwanted parts of the pig. That doesn't mean that they were living high on the hog. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So
there is. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So what they're saying right now is that, and we'll see more as we keep reading down. But the Smithsonian is trying to paint a reality of what slavery looked like. During that time, in the 1800s, 1700s, they're trying to paint a picture of being unbiased, and they just want to give the facts. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Keep reading.
Okay. There is a disagreement among scholars on the level of nutrition for bondsmen and women throughout the South. You see how they play on words right there? Mm-hmm. Now you're not a slave, you're a bondsman, and the bonds. Yeah. They stole that from the Bible, y'all. Right? Throughout the South, as well as the rice-growing regions.
Mm-hmm.
Even the testimony of former slaves varies, with some saying they always had plenty to eat, and others recounting malnutrition, and want.
So basically, they're saying some slaves had food to eat, and some slaves did not have food to eat. Some slaves were had malnutrition, and that's why they're eating pork and pork chitlins and trying to save every piece of meat off the pig. And other slaves, they were a little bit better fed. Right?
Think about this, sir, if I may.
Okay.
Black folk eat pork rinds. Do you know what pork rinds are? That's fried pork skin.
Yeah.
Right? Fried pork skin. Usually, the skin of an animal, you use it to, clothe yourself or something like that, right? Think about the skin of the animal. We if we were to take the skin of an animal, we use it to clothe ourselves, right? You had to eat this. Your oppressor made you eat the things. Have you ever heard an oppressor say, "I want some fried pork skin"?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You ever heard the oppressor say, "I want some hard"? Unless his ass is from like Mississippi, from Duck Hill, Mississippi. Unless he's from Duck Hill, Mississippi, you won't hear an oppressor say anything about him wanting the things that we call delectables in our community. Right. You won't hear him saying he wants some chitlins and some hog head cheese, some pig feet, and some damn pork rind, pork skin. Right? Yeah. They made you eat pork ears. You know how much meat? That's all skin. That's similar to the rind. That ain't no muscle. There's not a lot of muscle in, because usually when we eat an animal, we're usually eating the muscle. Right? When you go in and eat a goat or eat a chicken, you eat the muscle, right? That's what's on that chicken leg. That's all muscle. Right? You're not eating, right? A lot of people don't eat chicken liver. I love chicken liver. Fry some pork liver up. I mean, some chicken liver. Fry some chicken liver up. Man, I'm gonna have to make some of that for you. Fried chicken liver. Right. So it says, at a conference at the Smithsonian in May 2016, Harvard historian Walter Johnson said it is a commonplace in the literature that slavery dehumanized enslaved people.
Now check this. This is your Charlie Kirk right here. Because America would want you to believe that they were not dehumanizing Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous.
Hey, sir. That's a heavy point, what you said. Because America can't say we're not dehumanizing slaves when they called you. Have you ever heard of the 3/5 compromise?
Compromise, no lie, never heard of that.
So the 3/5 compromise is they were using it for slaves to be able to count, and it's based on the electoral vote now, right? That's why you got a lot of southern states with mass amount of electoral votes, right? Because understand is that the slaves were counted as 3/5 of a human. Think about it, slaves couldn't vote,
right?
So slaves were counted as 3/5 of a human. So that's what the term 3/5 compromise. I can pull it up if you want me to, real quick.
No, I got you, and as you brought that up, again, that's the reason why that electoral vote, means so much more, because that idea of you vote for, or Americans have the power to put in office who they want, it is total bullshit. You know what I mean? There's only certain states that had meant more, to the vote. And these come from, stems back to slavery, where you have wealthy slave owners, who want to keep in power, and secure their businesses that they have running. So they have all the power to vote in who they want. They have all the power to best vote in which president, helps them keep their money. And so to think that our vote matters today, it goes back to that 3/5 compromise. It goes back to slavery. It goes back to understanding that, you truly are dehumanized inside of America. You don't have equal rights to everybody in this place. Go ahead.
So we just got a question. This is my real about Ohio. She's trying to text me and as well as comment at the same time. That's wonderful. So her question is, what food? I think it says, what food is lawful? That's the question. Do the ISUPK consider as lawful? So I got Leviticus chapter 11 pulled up.
Yep, that's it. That's exactly where you want to go.
You me to read through it.
If you could read in Leviticus 11 just the part where it says, these are the clean and unclean animals.
That goes from a Leviticus starts at 11:3 and goes down to, I'm going past 20 and it's still talking about food. Right?
Yeah, verse 2. Just Leviticus 11 verse 1 to 2.
All right, this is Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, verse 2, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, these are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth.
Right. So, sis, when you go,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Slocky, sir, go ahead.
Yeah. So when you read in Leviticus chapter 11, the Lord told Moses what to tell blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous is lawful to eat, and told you what is unlawful to eat. So when you say what foods do the ISUPK consider as lawful, anything that the Lord said that we can eat, we eat. You understand? We can eat goats. We can eat sheep. We can eat chicken. You can eat pigeons, sis. You can eat, different types of birds. There's a whole list of things that are lawful. You know what I mean? Things you may not have thought you could eat, like locusts or crickets. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's different things that we can eat that are okay for us to eat. You understand? And there are certain things that we should not touch. We shouldn't touch shark, shouldn't touch dolphin, shouldn't touch pig, shrimp, crab, lobster, right? Anything in the Bible, anything that the Lord told Moses that was lawful to eat, that is what we eat, sis. You understand? I would, to go through the hundreds of things that we can eat, you know what I mean? That would take a very long time. And so what's a good thing to do is, if you have a head, if you have a husband, you know what I mean, or if you know a priest near to you, you want to ask that priest, is this something that is okay to eat? You understand? We are not going to tell you anything, that is unlawful that it's okay to eat. You understand? I'm a Benjamite. One of the big things Jamaicans eat is mackerel. You know what I mean? I got into school. I got under, a priest in the ISUPK. And he told me mackerel is not okay for you to eat.
Tuna.
You know what I mean? Tuna is not okay to eat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's so important. Like it says in Hebrews, you know what I mean? To, not to grieve the men that have rule over you, because they watch over your soul. You know what I mean? When a brother told me mackerel wasn't lawful, I didn't say, well, you know what I mean? But I've eaten mackerel my whole life, and it tastes good, and this and that. I just said, call out of one con, because I knew this brother was looking after me. You know what I mean? And so anything that you're unsure of, sis, that you don't know what to eat, just ask the man that's above you. You know what I mean? And over time, you're going to start to rearrange everything that's in your kitchen. You're going to start to know places to go to eat and what places not to go to eat. You know what I mean? Over time, certain foods are going to start to disgust you.
Damn right.
You know, I see when those restaurants start cooking pork and shit on their grills, that shit, it turns me off. You know what I mean? Seeing all the fat drip off and shit, it's such a turn off to me. You know, knowing that once upon a time I was eating poison. Once upon a time I was ignorantly doing something, you know, that was destroying my life.
If I may, sir.
Yeah, come on, go ahead.
What's so crazy about our people is that, you know, they got these what's going on, this popular thing, these seafood boils. These
Yeah, I've
seafood
been seeing that.
right? These folk, I've never seen people put on rubber gloves to eat something. Right? You got to put on rubber gloves to eat these seafood. So you don't want it to touch your hand, but you're gonna put it in your mouth.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, you don't want it to touch your hand, but you're gonna put it in your mouth. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, if you look at a baby, right? So I'm claiming you're smarter than a baby, because a baby, you know, at 1 year old, I see little babies at 1 year old, you know, even at 2 years old, right? They're picking up stuff, and the first thing they do is they looking at it, playing with it, and then they want to taste it, right? And I'm talking about from everything to anything from food to a paper clip. You know? Right? For some reason, a baby just has to know what some. I guess is another sensory. You know, the taste is another sensory, and you know, we go around looking at the grandbabies and stuff, and the little young kids, and you know, especially these ones 2 and under, and because we're watching what they pick up, because understand they could be outside playing in the yard, and there could be some dog shit in the yard, and they will pick it up and put it in their mouth. So as an adult, you have to be smarter than a baby.
That's right.
Right. And this Leviticus 11 explains the things that you can and you cannot put in your mouth. It tells you you can't put, you know, lizard and mole and ferret and tortoise and weasel, you know, and I'm just going through the things real quick. You ain't supposed to eat none of that. And the reason why I bring this up, because I caught a turtle fishing. You know, I fish a lot. So I caught a turtle, and my brother snapped a picture of me and this turtle, because I got my hook stuck in it. I'm trying to pull the hook out of his mouth without ripping his damn head off. Right? Because if I rip his head off, I'm gonna use his head for bait, and I'm gonna go catch some gas. Right? But and then I catch these little small bait fish, and these bait fish are unlawful to eat.
Right.
But the thing about it is, somebody asked me about the damn turtle. When I catch thousands of bait fish, they never ask me one time if I eat the bait fish. I'm like, no, if it's not lawful, according to the scriptures, I don't eat it.
Yeah.
But why didn't you ask me about the boot that I caught? Because somebody snapped a picture of me pulling the booty in, or the plastic bag that I caught with some sanitary napkins in it. You know, you catch a lot of stuff out there on the water that's gross. Right? And I'm trying to be as clean as possible explaining this nasty stuff that I pull up out the water. But it's so people are just what the heck was that? But people are just, you know, they're so accustomed to eating everything as if they're a damn baby, that they don't understand that there's some things and there's reasons why we're not supposed to eat these things, right?
Yeah.
Think about how just talking about pork destroys, give you high blood pressure, heart disease, and all that kind of stuff. Then you were talking about the different parasites that the pork have that infects your body, how it causes cancer, things like that. Shellfish is another one. I looked at why we don't eat. We don't eat shellfish because the Bible says you don't eat shellfish. But I was looking at the health risks of eating shellfish. Right, there's shellfish that lowers your ability to be acceptance to antibiotics. There are some shellfish that, like oysters and mussels and stuff like that. If you eat those, it's a possibility that you could have either get a flesh-eating disease or a brain-eating amoeba, right? This amoeba eats your brain. Now, I understand, some of us ain't as smart as the other one, but I'm sure you don't want nothing eating your brain.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people say, oh, I can eat that. I done cooked it and stuff like that. No, these same people cook the same thing you cooking. It's just, your grace hasn't ran out yet eating that bull crap.
Yeah, and if I may too, a lot of times, because of things like Christianity, when we hear like these are the foods that are lawful and these are the foods that are unlawful, it's like you almost get this sense of like the Most High is being mean. He's putting some restrictions on me as to be able to be free and do what I want. You know what I mean? And you almost want to have this sense of battling. Well, why is pork bad? And why shouldn't I smoke cigarettes? And why shouldn't I celebrate birthdays? Not understanding that, like, Christ explained it in a better way for us to understand, where he said, choose life this day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you choose not to eat pork, you're making a decision to live a long and healthy life. When you make a decision not to eat lobster, you're choosing to live. And, like we say this all the time, you look at a cigarette box, it tells you you're going to get cancer. It tells you you're going to die from smoking cigarettes. But we in our ignorance do it anyway. We in our stupidity do it anyway. And we cause so much hurt to the people that love us. Like, we don't understand how selfish we're being, when we harm ourselves. We don't understand how selfish it is to have a loved one, watch us get chemotherapy every couple weeks. How selfish it is, when somebody commits suicide and leaves all their loved ones and their kids and their family to mourn. You know what I mean? I saw a brother, wrote something about, his best friend, was shot at the age of 11, and it's something that he can never get over. This man's in his 40s, still grieving, the horror of knowing his best friend was shot and unalive. Like, when we harm ourselves, when we make that decision to just do things that destroy us, our health, whatever it may be, we're being extremely selfish. And we're hurting people that we have no business hurting. I go out today and do something stupid, a Habawan has to suffer that.
Damn right.
Habawan has to pick up the pieces and say, yo, where's Shariwan at? Where's my loved one at? You're not just hurting yourself when you do these things. We really got to start valuing life, valuing living a long life, valuing healthy families and relationships, you know what I mean? So that we can actually live, in a place that's not hell. Like, we so destroyed because we disobey God. It's not just don't eat pork because it's unlawful. Like, don't eat pork because this shit's gonna kill you. And the Most High is a good father. He doesn't want you to harm yourself. How hurtful do you think it is to the Most High who created you when you harm yourself? You're a father, you got kids, and your kids are doing something to harm themselves. That hurts as a father. It hurts as a mother. You're a child, just brought into this earth, and your parents are smoking cigarettes every day. Your kids have to suffer that shit. But it's so important to learn these laws, statutes, and commandments, and truly start to heal as a nation of people. Salaki.
If I may, sir.
Yeah.
I just pulled up an AI interview overview about the shellfish, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is what it came up. It says, during colonial times in America, lobster were so abundant they were considered trash food. and were routinely fed to prisoners, indentured servants, and slaves.
Yep.
This was not considered a luxury, but rather a form of cruel and unusual punishment for many, leading to protests and formally requests to limit the frequency of lobster meals in some colonial contracts. The perception of lobster shifted dramatically as transportation improved, making it available to wealthy urban populations who then develop a taste for it, transforming the transforming the poor man's protein into a symbol of fine dining. So lobster, shellfish, all that stuff was considered trash food, and they fed it to slaves and prisoners. So every time you get that seafood boil and you put your gloves on to protect your hands and not your inward parts, you eating trash food anyway. Think about if you were to dig in the trash, wouldn't you put gloves on? Right? When I eat some chicken, I don't put no gloves on eating chicken. Right? I eat some oxtails. I don't got to put gloves on to eat oxtails.
If I may,
please, sir.
I remember I was speaking to a family member in the world. I think it was like a year or two ago, and I was running down, how pork is bad for them, and this is what 2 years ago. It's 2023, and they had said to me, "Well, I can't afford to not eat pork. It's the only meat I can afford."
Heard that too.
You know what I mean? And it's this ideology, coming out of slavery. We eat this shit because it's poor. It's poor man's food. You know what I mean? You're eating chitlins because it's the quote unquote only source of nutrients or protein you can find. You know what I mean? This stuff goes back to slavery. Which is why that heavy scripture brought out earlier, like we're so destroyed mentally that they don't have to keep chains on us anymore. You know what I mean? They still believe that the only way I can survive, the only protein I can get is these chitlins. You still eating it in 2025, making the same excuse that, I'm going to die without this meat. It's the only meat I can afford.
Pause.
You know what I mean? That's lucky. I can't say nothing no more. But it's right to that point, like you brought up. You eating lobster because they used to give this shit to prisoners. You know what I mean? You're eating this stuff because it was so easily accessible. You know what I mean? You start looking up, I forget what it's called, the Alabellum of the 1800s, and you start seeing that Europeans brought pig over to the Americas because there was such an abundance of corn. The pigs were able to just run free. I think they call it the hog, was able to just run free and eat all the corn and survive off the land. And so because of that, hogs are multiplying, at such a rapid pace.
Yeah.
And so now slave owners are like, oh, look, pigs are everywhere. Now that pigs are everywhere, let me send some slaves out to go catch the pigs. Slaves will bring back some pigs. You know what I mean? Clean the pig up, cook it up, use every fucking part of the pig, give the good parts to the slave owner, and you're left there to eat the chitlins and the fucking skin off a pig.
Hey, if I may, sir.
Go ahead.
Can you answer a question for me? What's the good part of a pig?
Yeah, it is crazy.
The good part of a pig is no good part for consumption. Pigs they're designed to devour trash. They are a natural trash. What do you call it when you remove trash removal system? Because they can eat anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They'll try to get you to think that a goat will eat a can.
Right.
No, that's the pig with it. A pig will chew that can, and its stomach acids are so strong in the pig's gut that they can dissolve metals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Think about what the mafia used to do. Was the mafia is rumored? I don't know this personally, but the mafia um, used to take the individuals that they unalive and feed them to the pigs. Where do you think that came from?
Yep.
There's a story of a black woman in the South walking on an oppressor's land. They unalived this black woman and fed her to the pigs. Now, if you want me to, sir, I'll find that story and pull it up for you. Right? And this was recently. This was, I think, sometime earlier this year. Right? So those things, we talking about how diabolical the oppressor is, and we talk about how diabolical this pig is for you to eat, use this consumption of food. When you put them together, how your oppressor can weaponize just about anything. He used that pig as a weapon to get rid of that young lady's body.
True. If I could read something real quick.
I would love to hear it.
True, because this is, to my brothers and sisters in Canada. You know what I mean? We did a class on. Have you ever heard of Robert William Picton?
Robert who?
Robert William Picton.
No, sir.
All right, let me read this real quick. So it says Robert William Picton, also known as the Pig Farmer Killer.
The Pig Farmer Killer.
Yep. Was a Canadian serial killer who operated a pig farm in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. Between 1978 and 2001, he was linked to the disappearances of at least 65 women from Vancouver downtown east side.
So look what they said. They said he was linked to the disappearance of 65 women.
65 women.
Okay.
And that's just from, what was that one show? Breaking Bad. You remember Breaking Bad?
Yes, sir.
Remember? I don't know if you remember that one time they're trying to, make a man disappear.
Yeah, he was trying to put him in the acid and all that kind of stuff.
Acid, trying to make his body disappear. This devil, he just took pigs.
Yeah.
They'll
eat the bone.
They eat fucking everything.
They eat the gym shoe. They'll eat the bone. They'll eat the glasses. You know what I'm saying? Pigs will devour everything and won't leave, any part of the evidence unchewed.
Mm. Yep.
So they call him the Pig Farmer Killer.
Yep.
And he was linked to 6. So did they ever say what he ended up getting charged with? Because being linked to a crime don't mean you convicted. I'm assuming that this individual was of the caucus persuasion.
Of course.
Yes, because this black folk, name a black person that's killed 65 people, that's unalived 65 people. I'll wait.
And that's just the number that they know of.
Yes.
He could have made hundreds of women disappear.
Look how long Jeffrey Dahmer went running rampant in the United States, right? If they really didn't have a problem with him eating, because most of the people that he ate were black and Hispanic. So these Caucasian police officers right, didn't have a problem with him eating black and Hispanics.
God.
They didn't have a problem with that. Oh, that's and they allow him to run rampant, in the black community. Think about where he lived at. He lived in some of the poor black community, right? And the police had been called to his house multiple times. One because he had a young man there that he had drugged him and did something to his brain, so he couldn't function. And the young man was underage, right? Under consenting age, when he was under 18. And then the neighbors called the police on him so much because, what did the young lady quote? That his house smelled like open ass.
Yeah.
Smelled like he was cooking chitlins, right? It smelled like Jeffrey was cooking chitlins. And what happened was they never, they didn't arrest him. They let him run rampant,
Mm-hmm.
right? It took some doing for him to be arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Think about all the serial unalivers in America, right? And that'll take you to looking at serial unalivers to these long distance shooters. And majority black women, I haven't seen a long distance shooter that was a black woman. Right? So, if the FBI was to set up a profile for long distance, snipers, you don't see the black woman in there, right? What end up happening is I got to look at the one story, but remember, I think it was the DC sniper or something like that. I don't know if the guy was one of us or he was African.
Right.
I don't know the history of that. Right. Remember that DC sniper? If somebody know the information on that, please, send us a source. But majority of these long distance snipers, these mass unalivers, has not been considered shooters in the eyes of the FBI, according to their profile, according to their profiling system, right? Think about this: the FBI went out and attacked groups like the Move movement, and they dropped bombs on row houses in '85 in Philly. They attacked the Black Panther movement. They attacked the they should have shut down King, right? Malcolm X. They went after all those black movements, but not one time did they consider the KKK a terrorist organization. Now the Southern Poverty Law Center is usually the individuals who say these people are considered a terrorist group. Now, how we know that is because the ignorant bastards decided to say that the UPK is a terrorist group. The ISUPK has not performed any terrorist activities. We have not unalived anybody. We have not ran up and jumped somebody and beat them in the ground. Think about things that terrorists do. You don't have any mass shooters coming out the ISUPK, right? You don't have these serial sexual assaulters that's coming out the UPK. Think about the things that terrorists do, right? And we haven't seen any of that come out of the ISUPK. So how is the ISUPK considered a terrorist group in the eyes of the Southern Poverty Law Center, right? And the KKK isn't. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you my idea of why. Because the Southern Poverty Law Center is ran by the small hats. And with it being ran by the small hats, right? We're not terrorizing individuals. What we're doing is with teaching the truth, we terrorize their ideology, right? So we're saying you black man, you Native American man, you Hispanic man are the true Jews, are the true 12 tribes, are the true children of God, right? That fights against and destroy the ideology that they're trying to teach that they're the children of God, right? They're the chosen people of God. And anything that fights that ideology, they want to immediately eliminate, right? And then with immediately eliminating that, and then say whatever propaganda or bring up any propaganda to dispute or to eliminate that ideology. You get what I'm saying, sir?
Yep.
Now, I can continue. I thought you was about to say something.
Nah, I was just looking up one of the articles I had, because I want to read. Just want to read quickly a couple of things that you could say like scientists and nutritionists say about pork.
You want me to pull up the Healthline article?
Yeah. God, and I'm just looking just those first two paragraphs, and then maybe just list the four things that they say. This article is a very long article,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll share it as a link to anybody in the class who wants to go through it, because it breaks down, all the basically breaks down everything that pork does to us when we digest it. And so
A couple more comments. Let me see if I can read these things from here. It says, Meech the. Nope. There you go, sir.
Yeah, he said, when you were speaking, he was saying one of Dahmer's victims escaped and they brought him back to Dahmer.
Yeah, that was the Puerto Rican brother. The young Puerto Rican brother had escaped, and then they brought him. The police actually brought him back to Jeffrey Dahmer.
God.
Right? Think about how diabolical these people are. Right? Think about the police are supposed to serve and protect the innocent. You ever watch RoboCop? That was in his prime directives.
God.
Right? Remember, he had 3 prime directives.
Mm.
One of them was to serve and protect the innocent. Right? That's what police are supposed to do: serve and protect the innocent. Right? That's the prime directive of your law enforcement.
Mm.
So, if that's their prime, their number one, their number one mission is to serve and protect. How did they bring this young man back? At minimum, what they should have did was, not what do you call when you basically interrogated the young man and said, "Hey, where you at? Where you live? Where you going? What you want to do?" They should have asked him some questions, and with asking them questions, they'd have found out what was going on.
Mm.
Right? It took, I think, a brother got loose. A brother got loose, and he's running through the city, unclothed, and he running through the city nude, and the police pull him over like, "Oh, we got another crazy one running through the city nude," because he patrolling. 2 white officers patrolling a black neighborhood, and he was able to let them know like, "Hey, he had been kidnapped, and the dude was trying to, unalive him."
God.
He didn't even know dude was going to eat him. Now,
Yeah, so lucky if I could.
I was going to that article. Come on, sir.
Just the one thing, you were saying, again, it's like we think that police are good because of TV. Yeah, like we taught from the age of 2 on a cartoon show. Police are here to serve and protect. You know what I mean? And this is, one of my personal disdains for the Christian church is that, we put these people on a pedestal as the image of a good person. We put these people on a pedestal of this is what good moral people look like. They got on a police uniform. You know what I mean? They got on a suit and tie, and they're preaching behind a pulpit. And then we get older and we get so confused when those same people violate us. They molest our kids. They do something deviant to us. And now that in a child's mind, you're trying to understand reality and understand this world. You're trying to understand like what is a safe place. I mean, you can't go to your uncle's house because he molested you when you were 8 years old.
Late night creepy uncle.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like we do such a disservice to our kids when we don't teach them that a good person is somebody who doesn't lie. A good person who, is somebody who refuses to molest somebody, refuses to, abuse somebody, refuses, to throw away their integrity. When we teach our kids this, it's like they can learn what a safe place is. They can learn on how to identify, where safety is. You know what I mean? And so, Salaki, just to that police thing, it's such a personal, disdain for me.
Man, if I may, sir.
Go ahead.
Can we teach our children not to lie when we tell them that a fat white guy in a red suit is going to break into your house and leave you gifts, right? We tell them that a flying fairy is going to reach up under your pillow and exchange money for teeth, right? These are the things we tell them, that bunny rabbits shit eggs. These are the things that we tell our children. And then we tell them, don't lie to me.
Yeah. So Salaki, we tell the kids that pork is food.
That pork is food.
And we might not think we're lying to our kids. And then they grow up thinking, what the fuck?
That a seafood boil is a delectable dish.
You wonder why you got high blood pressure at the age of 13. You know what I mean? I remember I think I was like 14 years old, went to a family doctor, and they're like, oh, you got high blood pressure.
Me too.
And they're looking at me like, this is such a rare thing. 14-year-old's not supposed to have high blood pressure.
If I may, sir.
God.
My blood pressure at 15 years old was 145 over 100, which is considered high blood pressure. My blood pressure now, at the age I am now, I'm pulling up on 50 in a couple of years, is the 145 over 100. And they say, oh, you got to take these pills.
God. Yep.
Why? But I have that article about the pork.
Yeah, if we could, just to we'll bring the class to a closing.
Yes, sir. So this is a Healthline. It says pork eternal temperature. How to safely cook pork. Well, Israel, before I get into this, the best way to cook pork is to, while it's still in the package, throw that shit in the garbage. And so it says cooking meat to the correct temperature is.
Yeah, you at the top of the article?
I'm at the very top of the article, sir.
Well, hold on. Let me read it real quick. It says these are the 4 hidden dangers of pork.
Oh, I pulled up the other one.
Oh, Salaki.
I pulled up the wrong one. Yeah, but go ahead, sir. You already got it.
Yeah, I'll get it real quick. It says 4 hidden dangers of pork. It says, among foods that inspire a cult-like following, pork often leads the pack, as evidenced by the 65% of Americans eager to name bacon the country's national food. Unfortunately, that popularity comes at a cost. Along with being the most commonly consumed meat in the world, pork may also be one of the most dangerous, carrying some important and under-discussed risks that any consumer should be aware of. They have, number 1, hepatitis E.
Ooh.
Number 2, multiple sclerosis. Number 3, they got liver cancer and cirrhosis.
Sclerosis.
And number 4, Yersinia. You know what I mean? And
I don't even know what that is.
God, I'll read a quick thing on it because, you know what I mean? And I'll share this article for anybody who wants to read it. But, you know, it goes into detail, you know, about how destructive, you know, these things are. You know what I mean? I'll read a quick thing from Yersinia. It says, for years, pork's precautionary motto as well done or bust, a consequence of fears about trichinosis, a type of roundworm infection that ravaged pork consumers through much of the 20th century. It says, thanks to changes in feeding practices, farm hygiene and quality control, pig-borne trichinosis has dropped off the radar, inviting pink pork back onto the menu. So what happens is that everybody knows that they were getting these worms from eating pork. And so they had pig farmers, you know, start to feed the pig something different. Try to control what the pig, you know, eats. Because if you let a pig just be wild, you know what I mean, they're going to be full of all sorts of nonsense. You know, all sorts of things that destroy you and that are harmful to you, which is why people, you know, were out here teaching it has to be well done. Yeah, I mean, I remember being told that, you know, when I was like 5, 6 years old, my mom talking about, you know, how we always got to cook the pork well done. You know what I mean? That was something ingrained in us. But it says here, but pork's relaxed heat rules may have opened the doors for a different type of infection, yersiniosis. So they're saying even if you cook the pork well done, and you think you know you're getting at a harm's way, it says, which is caused by Yersinia bacteria. In the U.S. alone, Yersinia causes 35 deaths and almost 117,000 cases of food poisoning each year. Yersinia's acute symptoms are rough enough, fever, pain, bloody diarrhea, but its long-term consequences are what should really ring alarm bells. Victims of Yersinia poisoning face a 47 times higher risk of reactive arthritis, a type of inflammatory joint disease triggered by infection. Like I'm just reading, I read 3-4 quick paragraphs on this. You know what I mean? This article has, you know, damn near 50 paragraphs on how much pork destroys us. You know what I mean? And so I'll post the link in the chat, but it is definitely a good read. You know what I mean? If that's something that interests you.
That's heavy right there. Okay. Because we, you know, how can you be so concerned about, you know, how something tastes and not care about your health?
Okay.
You know, pork is just as deadly as your cigarettes, just as deadly as your crack cocaine and your fentanyl, right? Because you can have a food addiction just like you could have a cocaine addiction. And think about it, because it's not frowned upon by the the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration.
Okay.
You consider it, okay, yeah, I can go ahead. It's legal.
Okay.
Well, understand this is that marijuana is legal, and that is destroying the brains of our people. Alcohol is legal, and overconsumption of that legal item, you can end up, with all type of issues, or, get so damn drunk you rolling your car up against a building. We right over here off of Gratiot, 12355 Gratiot Avenue, and there's been multiple buildings up and down Gratiot that cars are spun out of control and ran into these buildings.
Okay.
Right? Some of these individuals had too much alcohol in their system. Right?
Hey,
Yes, sir.
if I may.
You want to take us out?
Yeah, and if I may, and this might be another class or topic we get into, but we go back into looking, some of the ways the FDA was founded, and you start looking at the FBI and different, what quote unquote agendas that they had. Like, they don't want your black ass, to get your retirement.
They don't.
I mean, and you look at, the leading causes of mortality in America, it's from the food that you consume. You know what I mean? Like diabetes and, health, heart problems, cancer. Like, these things are at some of the top of the list of, why we're dying here in America. You know what I mean? Which is why the ISUPK is so important, because, we really want Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people to live. You know what I mean? We want them to live, have a healthy life, have healthy families, healthy marriages. You know what I mean? Which is what all these classes are about. Is building brick by brick the kingdom of heaven. You know what I mean? Building a kingdom for Christ to come back to rule over in righteousness. You know what I mean? Christ is not going to come back and, rule over a bunch of drug addicts and people out here, just harming themselves, eating all different unlawful foods. You know what I mean? So get up in these ISUPK classes. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. All right. I'm going to read the security announcement really quick, and then we'll end up the class. All right. These are the ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, start at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters: when a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves with the world. They need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests is not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like, please give. Upcoming holy convocations. We got the Memorial of Blowing the Trumpets coming up, which is on Sunday, the 21st. All right. To any brothers who wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black: boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. All right. And with that, we're going to say shalom, Israel.